cappuccino was probably the first fancy coffee drink most of us ever heard of. It just sounds sophisticated, like something you'd order in a cafe while pretending to read an intellectual book about actually scrolling through your phone. It's rich, frothy, and just the right amount of indulgent. But where did it come from? And why does it sound like something out of a 16th century monk's diary? Because, well, it kind of is. Believe it or not, the story of this beloved drink is steeped in history, faith, and a dash of myth. Let's start by going back to the early 16th century in Italy. Imagine bustling streets, rich with the aroma of roasting chestnuts and freshly baked bread. In the midst of it all, there's a lone monk kneeling in prayer. His name is Matteo da Bascio, a friar of the Franciscan order. Now, Matteo isn't your run-of-the-mill monk. He's troubled, deeply so. You see, he feels that his order, the Franciscans, has strayed too far from the path of its founder, St. Francis of Assisi. In Matteo's eyes, they've become too comfortable, too worldly, and too far removed from the life of poverty and simplicity that St. Francis preached. So, one day, Matteo makes a decision that would change his life and, unknowingly, the future of coffee culture. He decides to break away from the cushy comforts of monastic life. In a quiet act of rebellion, he fashions himself a simple brown robe with a pointed hood, known as the cappuccino, and sets out to live among the poor, preaching a return to the original values of his order. He wants to embody the humility and simplicity that he believes are the true hallmarks of a Franciscan. And so the Cappuccino order is born, named after the distinctive hood. Now, fast forward a couple of centuries to the bustling coffee houses of 18th century Europe. Lively places filled with heated debates, gossip, and the occasional shady business deal. It was in these caffeinated hives of activity that the drink we now know as the cappuccino began to take shape. The story goes that this new coffee drink, rich and frothy, had a color that reminded people of the Capuchin monks' robes. It was a deep, warm brown, the same color as coffee mixed with milk. And so, they started calling it cappuccino. A kind of nod to those monks who had become such an iconic symbol of simplicity and devotion. But there's more to the story. Legend has it that the Capuchin monks themselves may have had a hand in shaping this drink. The tale goes that the monks, in their quest for a more diluted, less intense coffee to match their humble lifestyle, began mixing their coffee with milk. This created a drink that was softer, gentler, and more soothing than the strong espresso that had begun to gain popularity across Europe. In a way, this diluted coffee was in keeping with their philosophy, a simpler, more balanced approach to life. Now, whether or not the monks actually invented the first cappuccino is anyone's guess. But what we do know is that the cappuccino, as we enjoy it today, didn't really take its final form until much later in the early 20th century. This was when Italy, the epicenter of coffee culture, saw the invention of the espresso machine. This machine was a total game changer. Suddenly, baristas could brew coffee with a level of precision that was previously impossible. They could steam milk to just the right temperature and consistency, creating that beautiful, frothy foam that's now a hallmark of the cappuccino. At its heart, the cappuccino is all about balance, taking a few simple ingredients and creating something that's more than the sum of its parts. It's about the contrast between the strong, rich espresso and the smooth, creamy milk, between the dark, bitter coffee and the light, sweet foam. Each element plays its part, creating a harmonious blend of flavors and textures that's both rich and light, strong and smooth. In a way, the cappuccino reflects the values of those Capuchin monks. Just as Matteo da Bascio sought to strip away the excesses of his order to return to a simpler way of life, so too does the cappuccino strip away the unnecessary, leaving you with something that's beautifully simple and simply beautiful. As coffee culture spread across Europe and eventually the world, the cappuccino evolved. it became a staple of Italian mornings, a drink to be enjoyed with a cornetto or another pastry before the day's business began. And as the drink spread, it adapted to different tastes and preferences. Today, you can find all sorts of variations on the cappuccino. Some with a sprinkle of chocolate, others with spices like cinnamon or nutmeg, and still others that take the concept in an entirely different direction. Yet, through all of these variations, the essence of the cappuccino remains tied to those humble Capuchin monks. It's a connection that might be more symbolic than literal, but it's a connection nonetheless. It's a reminder of how traditions, even those as seemingly simple as a coffee drink, can carry with them echoes of the past, weaving together stories of faith, simplicity, and the ever-evolving pursuit of the perfect cup of coffee. So, whether you enjoy your cappuccino in a bustling cafe or in the quiet of your own home, take a moment to appreciate the journey it's been on. From a monk's quest for simplicity to the hands of a skilled barista crafting your perfect cup. It's a drink steeped in history. Frothy, delicious history. I'm Jonathan Echeverry, and this was Curious Coffee.